And we're joined on the Allo VIP line by Nebraska men's basketball recruiting coordinator, Padyn Borders. Padyn, appreciate you doing this, man. How's everything going down there in PBA?
Yeah, no, first of all, I appreciate y'all having me. Had a good day today. It's exciting to see a lot of bodies, obviously in our gym, seeing everybody finally here, still waiting on Burkhead here. But, other than that, it's nice seeing a full gym and seeing everything, being put together. So appreciate you having me.
All right, man. So let's talk about the new class, because I mean you have kind of first of all, let's do this. Explain to the listeners what your role specifically is and what is all entailed in being the recruiting coordinator for Fred Hoiberg and the staff.
Yes, absolutely. First off is we have a great staff that I'm fortunate enough to work with. So obviously, it's a title, but we're all kind of doing our part. Our coaches, assistant coaches, and Coach Hoiberg have been around for a while. They have great connections, things like that. So I've learned quite a bit from them. But just as far as recruiting, how that's changed over the last few years, I've been really honed in on the portal. Just watching a ton of film, constantly, evaluating players that once they enter and things like that. And then just our playing style is a very specific style, that pro style, NBA style offense, along with our defense and how we play. That kind of filters out a lot of guys, so it's just as far as, getting what we like and the players that can play for Coach Fred and ultimately, lead us to success. But yeah, I'm going to get out on the road this weekend. Looking forward to watch, just keep learning again, like I said, from this unbelievable staff. So yeah, it's been great.
I'm curious, just as the portal's been around now for a couple of years, and I know you're somewhat newer into it, but like, is it messy? Like, I don't know what other word to use. Is it the opinion from, I think, a lot of folks on the outside are that it's this messy, just kind of jumble of names that coaches and staffs have to surf through. From your point of view and someone that's in it, can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, what is that process like when somebody enters the portal and you say, okay, yeah, you know what? This is somebody that fits everything we need at Nebraska.
Absolutely. I wouldn't use the term messy because, that's kind of my job, is to kind of organize through it, and these our assistant coaches, we have, a playing style, a very specific playing style. So it kind of, like I said, it kind of filters out for itself. So I wouldn't say messy. No, it is a lot. The numbers were, over 2,000 or something like that now. So, it's insane about, how many it is. I would say the number is quite large, and things like that. But I wouldn't say messy just because of how beneficial it is and has been for us as well. You talk about, guys like Juwan, Gary, Bryce, Williams, Rink, Matt. You're talking about huge contributors that we've had, and, Sam Greasel, things like that. People have contributed for this program and are a huge reason why we are here today. So I don't want to say messy, because it almost sounds bad when, it's so beneficial. And I know, I'm from Nebraska, so I hear all that stuff too. And I get asked this question a lot. But, everybody's kind of questioning the portal until it benefits you, right? So It's just being organized about it and then grabbing the pieces that you feel confident, that can put this program in a position to win and, and everything like that. So we've benefited greatly for it, And the way, Coach Hoiberg has recruited in the past is that, before the portal, he had great success with a transfer. So just as far as, his IQ and how this all works, like I said, I've learned a lot from him. So.
We're speaking with Padyn Borders, Nebraska men's basketball recruiting coordinator. And Padyn, you just mentioned Juwan Gary, the transfer portal, and how beneficial, how much easier kind of does it make your job when somebody who transferred in, who you've used the transfer portal who's used the transfer portal to get to Nebraska, makes comments like he did over the weekend about how much he loves his time at Nebraska and how much he loves playing for Coach Hoiberg?
Well, absolutely. There's only so much that us coaches can do, as far as a pitch to these guys, So if you're hearing it from the players, I don't know what else you need, It's a type of deal, like I said, I'm from around here, so I agree with everything he said, right? I already knew that. Yeah. Coaches, we've been here for a while. We know what's here, how special it is, how you're treated like a professional. Everywhere you go, you're like a celebrity. So we know all this, but, it means another thing to see that when you're a transfer and you come here, you're you're going to find success, and you're going to find people that are great human beings, and that, they just care for you outside of just the game. They're going to treat you like a pro, and that's a lot of the guys. Their next step is trying to be in the pros. So that's exactly what you expect. So I mean, I love hearing that type of stuff, and I love hearing it when I know it's true and genuine. I've seen Juwan. I'm lucky enough to been around him now for three years and seen his growth, and I've seen people have stopped me to take pictures for him, things like that. So it's a type of deal where it's unbelievable, and it's like I said, that's a recruiting pitch in itself.
Padyn, let's talk about these 6 transfers that you brought in this last year. Obviously, you talked about Burke, but you have Braxton Connor, Siege and Gavin Griffiths, Raleigh Worcester, and Andrew Morgan. If you had to pick one that maybe was like really intriguing or caught your eye or has a cool story of just kind of the process of it, who would that be out of those 6?
You know what? I have to compliment all of them. I just have to. Those are my guys. They all bring a special, talent to us in our program. Whether it's Connor and Gavin's shooting ability, or Raleigh's playmaking ability, Braxton's obviously just being 7'1" and what that does for us, and then obviously Burke. We haven't seen much of him yet, obviously, but watched tons of film on him. I'm really excited to have him here, and he's doing great for his national team. But something that stands out for me, and Coach had brought it up this morning, media, was just, what's special is is different about this is it provides opportunity, guys, and it might be even been conference. So you talk about Connor season and Gavin Griffiths being in Pinnacle Bank, hearing that atmosphere, complimenting, saying about how, it was my favorite place to play. It was the loudest, what says, I think that's the special dynamic of what this is because these guys, we also, we know who they are. We've scouted them, we know who they are as players. And now have them on your team and know that, you're going to work and try to bring their game to another level here in our system. We just really look forward to that. So I think that's a pretty cool experience. And, they're not just a guy on a scouting report, now they're your guys and you want to look out for them. And, we're going to the pool or we're doing things like that on the side. So that's been really special to see, so. Yeah, I got to give love to all the guys, So.
Well, and Coach, I guess what the part of that you mentioned, the PBA favorite place for some of these guys to play, and now they're going to be a part of it. And we hear so much on the outside, maybe about the facilities and about the perks of being a student athlete at Nebraska. Well, obviously, you're inside the doors, inside the walls. Tell the listeners just what are the facilities like for Nebraska men's basketball, and for some of these guys that you guys reach out to, and it's Nebraska. Maybe the history's not quite there, but you guys are slowly working back and obviously made the tournament last year. So you're on the right path. What's kind of just the reception, the facilities, all that like here in Lincoln?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll kind of speak for, a lot of sports when it says, it seems like it's just like once they get here, it's like, oh, wow, this is amazing. I can become a better human being, a better athlete, better player, everything like that here. So it's something that you got to see firsthand. And it's something that, we're fortunate enough. We travel quite a bit through, the Big Ten, everything like that, and it's evident that we have some of the best, we're lucky enough to have some of the best in the country. So, very fortunate. But it's also a thing, they just got to see it. And then, you see the positive, it's amazing, their reactions, everything like, wow, it's all right here. You talk about the new football facility and how, our athletics program made an emphasis, it's not just football. Every student athlete can benefit from it. So, they're seeing the training table and the academics in here, and they're blown away, and it's something that, been around for a few years now. Maybe, it's you kind of get used to them, but still, you just take a step back and realize, and you see the improvements of guys from the facilities, and you see, everything's right at hand, everything's a 2-minute drive away, so it's the type of thing you start seeing the product of all this and the rewards, and I can't help but, give a little credit to obviously with our success in this past few years. So, it puts us, in good position, and we're obviously very grateful to have all of this, and now it's just, using our resources to our full ability, and then, the rest will show.
Well, and last year, it certainly did show, right? NCAA tournament appearance, obviously you would have liked to get the game against A&M, but you guys were still there. And that's more than what a lot of programs at Nebraska have been able to say in recent years. let's talk about that, right? Because how do you guys kind of go back? You lose a couple of players. Obviously, Casey is one of those, but you reload, if you will. And there's some really intriguing pieces on this. What's it feel like down there right now? Because November's only a couple of months away and it's go time. And so talk about just like the feeling of, we aren't coming off of a sub 500 season. We're coming off of a very successful tournament appearance type of year, and we're looking to build on that.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, and first you can even go back to that 500 year when you have leaders like Sam Griesel, Emmanuel, Derek. That the year before was also product of last year as well. So it's a trickle effect, and I don't want to discredit those guys because obviously what they did is amazing for what, and it'll go down in history. But these guys are putting in their own work, and I think it's a really good mix. You talk about being fortunate enough to hold on to guys like Juwan Gary, Bryce Williams, I have Aaron Eulis, things like that. You add those guys in the mix with these new guys who aren't 18-year-olds or like guys who haven't been there. You're talking about Connor Season, who's played in the tournament. I think we're up to about 8 guys now who've been in the NCAA tournament. So you add a mix. Last year I think we had one, and that was Juwan. So it's not just you never want to be satisfied. And I think that's the thing that guys will always tell you is like it was great, but the guys are returning, they're hungry. So I think you just have that good mix of guys who have been there, done that, and then guys who have been there, done that here at Nebraska. So I think it's a really good mix. Just mature guys who are going to play hard, and that's something these fans can get behind.
A couple more before we let you go. Padyn Borders, recruiting coordinator, Nebraska men's basketball, with us here on the Allo VIP line. VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, understanding the importance of exceptional service with a local heart. That 500 year that you brought up, I mean, talk about just like the building blocks, because we've seen it from a media perspective where like D-Walk was a big piece of that. And there were obviously other guys as well that I know you'll want to mention. But like there were visual building blocks that I think Nebraska's fans could see that Fred Hoiberg and you guys were kind of creating and helping to like get towards a certain spot that you wanted to be, and obviously never satisfied. But now it's like Husker fans have a taste of that success. And yeah, you're right. It goes back to that 500 year.
Absolutely. And like I said, we're very fortunate to have, some of these people in this program over the past couple of years that have, helped shift this culture. It's been an emphasis for us. And that's why I think I get excited for this year too, because I think of like how much Nebraska fans have, loved and appreciated over the last year that, when we talk about recruiting and playing times, you also want people that fit your culture too. And I feel like we went out and we grabbed those guys, and you see them already meshing, we're going bowling and things like that. You're already seeing it, and that's encouraging. It's just we've seen that, and that's kind of something that you keep in your back pocket. Okay, not only do we need good basketball players and everything, but we need good people and guys who can mesh in together. And I think, we did that. All these guys, it's just so cool seeing everybody, getting to know each other so fast and seeing it all happen. That's what it's all about. But yeah, just kind of that blueprint, like you said, but then also realizing this is a whole new team. And so that's why I'm looking forward to these new guys, because I know just how much these fans love and support, this team. And I'm just looking forward to see those guys, receive that moving forward due to, these last couple years.
Now, Padyn, you talk about the mesh and how these guys get along. Can you let us into a little bit what exactly goes into your process for recruiting? Because I know for a lot of folks, it's looking at the numbers. People are looking at the points per game, rebounds, assists, field goal percentage. But what goes into your recruiting process when you're looking at somebody to bring into Nebraska? Like, how do you go about assessing not only the play, but how they might mesh with what you already have on your roster?
Absolutely. It's having the guys who we've had in the past, you kind of see, what works really well in this offense and this defense, what our needs, and so you can, you obviously, your guys, what you have, and, we love what we have, obviously coming back with Juwan, Bryce, and Aaron, and a few of these other guys, talk about Kale and Jeff and Henry all the way down the line, because everybody's contributing, everybody's doing wonderful things. But just, talking about, what like a certain play style goes far, but also a culture. And so you learn a lot of guys just on a visit. It might be 24 hours and just, thinking, this guy, like seeing our guys click and mesh with him as well. But, it's just when we have a specific playing style, a big like rink who can stretch a floor, and then obviously shooting all across the board, that helps, right? Because it just becomes a matchup problem. So, it's what we need and what we want, what's going to make us the most difficult team to play and show up. Because not only are, if shots aren't falling, not only that, we're going to be winning the rebound, looking for guards who can rebound down like Raleigh can, and Gavin, things like that. So not only just, relying on shooting, but how else, positional, size, things like that. How can we cause problems? And we got a little taste of that, in February there when we were the second defense in the country behind Houston in the month of February last season. You got a little taste of that, but it's just, now you're saying how can we take that up a notch? How can we, make that consistent rather than just 1 month, or things like that, or how can we beat the teams that we did down the stretch of the Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, things like that. How can we not just make it there and be happy about it? How can we move further? And that's just you have to address your needs. And like I said, coach has been here, done that before, along with our assistant coaches. So it's just addressing our needs and taking advantage of like this portal that I said that, is very beneficial towards us. So.
That's the last thing I kind of want to get to is the coaching staff, because you mentioned the culture and certainly the players play a big part in that, but so do the coaches, right? And you have Fred Hoiberg, who's now going to be into his 5th year, I believe. You have Adam Howard, who's going to be here for 3 or 4. Same with Coach Lenzer and Coach Ziegler. So what does that do for you guys on the recruiting trail specifically when it's, hey, there's buy-in from the coaches, but also the athletic department that this staff is here. It feels like it's a really good fit. You mentioned the players mesh well. Well, it seems like the coaches do as well.
No, absolutely. And first off, I want to address how appreciative I am. I came in just like as a student manager, and they've all took me under their wing and showed me a lot of, how to coach, how to recruit, things like that. So, they're unbelievable. And, you have Coach Ziegler, who coached in a Final Four. Obviously, Coach Hoiberg, winning Big 12, and then Coach Lenzer also being a part of that Iowa State staff as well. And then Coach Howard, who he's on, the offensive side, who is a genius on that board, similar to Coach Hoiberg. So just learning from all the different aspects of the game, including recruiting. But they, like I said, they've made great connections, and I'm just learning from them every day. I'm spoiled, to say the least. So yeah, it's awesome. Great human beings, and yeah, we're taking out guys to eat, etc. Things like that. It's what it's all about. So learning how to do it the right way, for sure.
Padyn, we're going to have you back on the show, I'm sure, in a couple of weeks or months or whatever. But what's the biggest piece of advice that you've gotten from those guys?
Yeah, I would say, always just, the coach isn't a guy who's going to be screaming and yelling at everybody, but he also holds an expectation. And I think it's just, taking pride in everything you do and paying attention to the details, but also just being a nice person. It's amazing how far that goes, and it's stuff that maybe it sounds simple, but it's just really, once you get into it, just being a good person and working hard, it's amazing how far that will go. So I'm, learning from them and them just leading by example and just being a sponge, sometimes you just gotta just pay attention and listen around you. And, with guys like them around you, our guys will say the same thing, we're very detail oriented. We take pride in that. But it's for all good. It's all for a reason. They always say we got all the answers to the test. We always do. So you just pay attention and just be all in. So.
There it is. All right, Padyn, we'll go and let you go, man. Appreciate the time. As always, look forward to more conversations down the road. Enjoy the rest of the off season. And like I said, I'm sure we'll have you back on here soon.
Absolutely, Nick. I appreciate all you guys over there. Y'all have a good one.